Guys, am I live? Hello, can you see me? Can you see me properly? Or is there any problem? Let me know so that I will also understand. Because I'm still not able to hear myself. Okay, Aryan is here, Shahid is here. Video and audio all are good. Okay, fine. Everything is good according to you. That's cool. If there is any problem at any point, just let me know. Okay. So I hope that we are ready now and we can go further with our today's topic. So before we go, maybe more people might join us in some time. So I was thinking, why not solve some tactics? Would you like to solve some tactics till that moment before more people will come and yes, okay. So 5 minutes or something like that, we will solve tactics, and then we will see with our proceed with our topics. Okay. Start tactics. Okay, on chess.com, not on chess.com, we will solve normal tactics only, because on chess.com maybe was you tell me on which platform do you want to solve. I was thinking like we will solve some normal tactics so that we can proceed quickly. Okay, Tuvia is also here. Hi Tuvia. Okay, let's begin. On chess.com, so okay, everybody is saying like on chess.com, so I need to figure it out. Okay, fine. Just wait a minute. Just give me a little bit time. Okay, fine. So if I close this and this, okay, fine. So we are here, but you will not be able to see the complete thing. And if I start training, can you see? So here, this is white to play. Okay, and tell me what will you play? Hi, Vidya is here. Perfect. Which move will you play? White to play in this position. Okay, if you want to see who is playing or something, should I reduce the board? Okay, for you, maybe I can a little bit increase the board. Okay, I will just keep it like this because no need of okay, yeah, rook e8 seems to be a good move in this position, because if you go for the rook e8, then queen h4 check is also there on the next move. Queen f8, queen e7, really? Okay, that's cool. You want to play queen e7 after that? Okay, he will capture, then we will capture, and then we are aiming for the a4 rook. That's quite cool. Yeah, I like it. Okay, I'll go for the rook e8 move. Queen f8 has been played, and I think we must play our rook queen here. We must play this move, because if we don't play this move, then I don't think so there is any other chance in this position. Okay, so I'll go for that move which you were talking about, and let's see whether it is correct or not. So queen e7, that is a correct move, and then I will capture here, and finally we will capture the rook. Absolutely right. We'll move to the next one. I'll just show you something, because I think like I should show you this thing also. See, this is our rating here, and if I make it a little bit, I'll make it a little bit smaller so that you can see this thing in this corner of the board. I think you are able to see this, right? Okay, fine. This looks perfect now. We'll solve some tactics till now. Okay, Krishna is also here, guys. We will solve some more tactics now. This is white to play. Which move will you play? You can see my rating is 2462 here in this position, so you need to be careful. Animesh is also here. Okay, fine. So guys, what are you going to play here? Can you tell me? You can definitely go for the queen, but if you go for the queen, then he is also proceeding with his queen. I think more than 10 people are here. After this tactic, we will continue with our today's topic, because our today's topic is also very interesting, and in that topic also different tactics are going to there. Okay, so I got the first suggestion of go this d8 knight, but after d8 knight, he might play this move. What is your idea after that? Okay, king f6, knight to the d5, then I'll play king to the g5 in that case. What's your idea after that? And he can play king to the e8 also. There is no problem for black. I don't think so there is any problem. Where are you saying? I think the moves which you are suggesting are not that good. It is white to play. Guys, you can see in the like smaller box I have done downside. It is white to play here in this position. Ah, you are suggesting knight e4 check and mate, but this knight is there on d6 square. It will be capturing our knight on then. Okay, I'll remove all the arrows which I was making until now. So now we don't have any kind of arrows. Let's see what happens. Can you tell me, Neve, what will you play? Oh, you were watching the bug house. Okay, nice. Will you play go for the queen here, or can you do you want to play something else in this position? Yeah, a7 is also a good move. But if you play a7, then I'll play f2. Then after that, what will you play? Okay, so you are suggesting like two moves, both the queens you are suggesting. Okay, but if you queen both the times, then your our king will be checkmated in that case. I don't think so that you should checkmate your own king. Okay, this square is remaining, and then knight e4. Yep, that idea can work in this position now. So I'll go for the a7 move. f2. We need to cover the e8 square, and that's why we need to remove this knight also, because we wanted to give this knight e4 check because the king was going to come on these squares. You are absolutely right, Neve, about this thing. Like, we will go for this check, and then we will give the knight check, and finally we will give the knight check, and it's a check and mate. It's really awesome puzzle, I'll say. And the king is not having any squares to go anywhere in this position. I like this thing. I like this puzzle. Everything is being covered just because of the knights. Okay, so guys, should we start with our today's topic? Yes, natural tendency is like okay, so our rating has been new. You are yeah, it took a lot of time to solve. Yes, new, you are right about this. Now my rating is also increased because of you. 2469 now. So I think we should start with our today's topic. Okay, let's see. I am going to hide these things, and we will okay, now we can yeah, I'm not paying attention to rating, but obviously I wanted to make it accurate. That was the most important thing, because I don't like when it goes wrong. So coming back to the topic which we were going to talk about here is this thing, that pawn majority on the queen side. Well, basically before we start, I would like to say that on the chessboard, if we divide the chessboard in three sections, okay, SGM play chess tactics for Ata. Oh, that's quite cool. Okay, okay, fine. So we will start with our today's topic, and I will say, if we decide like to break down our board, like in three sections, we can break it down. First thing is like center. Okay, these are like the two files. If we consider, then we can say that this is a central file. Then apart from this, like on the left side of the queen, we can say that all this region which is there, we can call it queen side, and this region on the right side of the king, we can call it king side. Okay, so our today's topic is related to the what we are going to play when we have the majority on the queen side, because sometimes what happens, we exchange the pawns or something like that. Then in such cases, okay, I will set up the position for you, and then we will understand it much better, I think. Okay, just for the example, sometimes what happens, our opponent might have some pawns, and we might exchange some of the pieces also in the case which is there on the board. So 3 6. So let's suppose this is some of like some kind of a position is there. I listen more than okay, you will listen. Okay, fine. So in this position, we have three pawns on the queen side, we can say, and black has only two pawns. So we can say that we have pawn majority on the queen side. Okay, on the right side, if you think, then the king side, we can say that okay, the pawn majority is there. Black has pawn majority on the right side of the board. But usually, what happens is like when we have pawn majority on the queen side, usually our opponent's king is not able to come on that side of the board. That is one thing. And one more important thing is that usually we keep our king also on the king side, so we can push our pawns freely if we have pawn majority on the queen side. That is the biggest advantage, because we can freely play our pawns forward. But we cannot really play our pawns forward on the king side because our king is there. If we push our pawns, then our king will be exposed, so that is not a good thing for us. So whenever we get pawn majority on the queen side, it is said that we have a little bit better options to proceed, or you can say that create more attacking possibilities. Okay. Okay, are you understanding this thing? Okay, fine, maybe. So we will understand this thing more if we are going to. There is no buffer, at least because I am listening to myself. I don't think so. There is any buffer. Yeah. So let's look at the game. One of the game which I have selected today first, and then we will proceed with the other games also. So the first game which I have selected is Botvinnik's game. Okay, because Botvinnik is something which I really like. So let's look at the game of Botvinnik and try to understand what happens when we get it. With Ponjari. Oh, really? You defeated Rakesh. That's cool. Okay, fine. So this game was played quite long back in 1934. Here Botvinnik was white and Moch was his opponent's Moch was black, and they started with c4. Just switched my Karthik. Okay, Karthik is here. That's cool. c6, then e4, then d5, then e into d5, c into d5, and d4. And if you see this in this position, white already has a possibility of creating a pawn majority on the queen side because he has 3 pawns, black is having only 2 pawns. But okay, black can always capture on c4 and he will not be having any pawn majority. The pawn structure will be different. But let's wait what happens. Knight to the f6 and then knight to the c3, knight c6, then bishop to the g5 and e6, and finally in this position Botvinnik decided to play c5, and by playing c5 he is confirming that he is going to have pawn majority on the queen side, and that will be like for long term, because even if black tries to exchange pawns here, he will always have this d pawn to be exchanged on the c5 square. Okay, so this is a very important thing which we need to understand. So as I was mentioning earlier, like what really happens when we have pawn majority, first thing is that white is going to play slowly. He is not going to just rush with his pawn moves on the queen side. We need to build up the attack, as we have learned it in previous parts of our series, that we need to prepare our attacks are not good if they are premature. Okay, and here black also decided to play it slowly and gradually. We need to play bishop to the e7 in this position. Yeah, Ono Batwinik attack. Yeah, in Karokan. We will see one more game also, maybe from the Karokan opening. But let's see. We are sticking to this, and I have selected one game by Shiro, in which he plays d4 also. So let's see what we are going to do it. So here, White decided to play bishop to the b5. He wants to pin the knight on this c6 square. Then castling was done, and then knight to the f3. Then knight f3 is very important move because we are going to control the e5 square. And one more thing is that if this knight on c6 gets exchanged, then we will be having firm control of the e5 square. But here Botvinnik's opponent was also very clever. He thought like, why not play in the center of the board, because he can put the knight in the center of the board on e4, and he is asking white to capture the knight on e4, because now he plays knight to the e4. If in this position, obviously knight into e4 will be a big mistake, because after this the d4 pawn is also weakness. That is not a good move. And the knight on f3 is also being attacked. Maybe we can play bishop into e7, then queen into e7. This is also there, or queen a5 is also there. And we will be capturing the b5, or we can capture the knight into e7 also. And this d4 pawn will be a weakness. So obviously Botvinnik did not go for it. He played a simple move, bishop into e7, not to go into the complications. Okay. Okay. Shiro, yeah. Okay. Then knight into e7. And now guys, from this movement onwards, I'm going to ask you questions from white side. Maybe you can score some points from white side today, as we did it in the first part. So which move will you play from white side? We'll make it more interactive now. I'll wait for your answers and let's see how it goes on. Okay, castling is suggested by Karthik. Okay, fine. Okay, there is one drawback of castling here. If you go for the castling, then let's suppose you go for the castling, then black can play knight into c3, and after b into c3, your majority which was there on the queen side will be little bit crippled, and that is not something which we want. What we want is, in this position, we want to develop our position also, and slowly and gradually we want to push our pawns on the queen side. So for that reason we need to support the knight on c3. Okay, time for bot winning points. Queen to the c2, yeah, queen to the c2 is a possibility. Yes, queen c2. But okay, before playing queen c2, white decided to play in a different way. He did not play queen to the c2. He played rook to the c1 in this position, and after rook to the c1, okay, yes, to where he played rook to the c1, because if knight captures here, then he will be having a rook here on this c file. That will be a good idea for him. So black played knight to the g6 in this case. Okay, yes, Neve, you are also right about this. Knight to the g6, and now it's time to play which move? Which move will you play? Yes, absolutely. Castling is the best move in this position because you need to bring all your pieces in the game. So black played bishop to the d7 because he wants to exchange this knight. And one thing I will tell you, in this kind of positions, when we have the light square bishop, then it is a good strategy to exchange the bishop on light square from black side. Okay. Okay, Shivendra. Bye. So black is trying to exchange the bishop or light square bishop. Should you exchange the bishop in this case, or should you play something else? Idea like bishop d3, then take knight e2, knight d3. Maybe you can play like that. I think like the way which is suggesting bishop into d3 is not that good. We should not exchange this bishop on d7 because bishop d7 is not that good in this case. So we should keep our light square bishop on the board. So we played bishop, Botvinnik played bishop to the d3 because this bishop is not active, and we should keep that bishop on the board. Okay, yes, bishop to the d3. Very good. P and John, you are also right. So now white is threatening knight into e4, d into e4, and bishop into e4. He will be pawn up. So black supported the knight on e4 with the f5 move. And now Botvinnik decided, okay, the position is quite cool, means he is ready for everything, and it's time to expand on the queen side. So you should go slowly and gradually. So he plays b4 in this position. Obviously, his idea is to expand with b5, a4, this kind of moves he is going to play. So black decided to play bishop to the e8 because maybe at some point when this knight will come to the f4 square, the bishop can jump to the h5 square, and he will be putting some pressure on the king side. And here, which move will you play? Because as I mentioned earlier, we should always pay attention to our opponent's threats, and we should take the decisions accordingly. So tell me, from white side, which move will you play? No, b4 is not fast. First of all, we played rook to the c1, then we played bishop d3, then we played b4. It is not fast, okay? This is going slowly. He did not even capture the bishop. So he is going step by step. Okay, you are suggesting knight to the e2 in this position. Well, knight e2 is also a possibility, but I think like, okay, knight e2, you are all, everybody is suggesting knight to the e2 to control the f4 square. Okay, Botvinnik had some different ideas. He did not play knight to the e2. He thought in this position he can control the f4 square with his pawn, and he played g3 because this knight can be useful on the queen side at any point of the time. Okay, because this pawn is there on c5, the knight can jump to the d6 square if it is possible in the future. Obviously, black can always capture the knight on c3, but whenever he captures the knight on c3, we will be getting good play on the e file because e6 is a backward pawn in this case. So he played g3. Hi Ivan. Okay, so g3 is played to cover this h4 square, f4 square, and also h4 square. So knight is not jumping, so the bishop's dreams of coming to the h5 are not there. So black played rook to the c8 in this position, and now it's time to develop it another piece. Okay, yeah, he can play f4. No problem with f4. Even if he plays f4, the thing is that the knight on e4 will not be having any supporters. So you need to decide whether you want to lose the support of the knight on e4 or not, because I can play bishop into e4 also, or I can play knight into e4 also. And the thing is that black is not well prepared to play f4 move. We should be prepared. Okay, so I don't think so f4 is a good move in this position. So black played rook to the c8, bringing the piece in the game. White means Botvinnik played rook to the e1, a very simple move. He is putting more pressure on the e file. So because whenever knight into c3 will be there, he will be having one piece which will be eyeing towards the e6 pawn. Okay, you are going for the a4 move. This is not really necessary right now. We can play that move. Maybe after queen b3 and a4 we can go the. But first of all, we should place our pieces in the center of the board. So black played queen to the f6 in this position. And here, okay, this is a very critical moment in the game. Here we can go for something like queen b3 and then a4, something like that, but this queen has come here on the f6 square, and maybe he is trying to play f4. He might give up the pawn on e4 also, or maybe he can play knight into c3, rook into c3, and then he will play f4. So here Botvinnik thought like, why to rush forward. He thought like, okay, I can wait for some time, and he played a3 move. He's just waiting for his opponent to make some plan. And then black played knight to the e7, and in this position, as this knight has left this e5 square, he suddenly very quickly he played knight to the e5, centralizing the knight in the center, right on the e5 square. And this pawn is also supporting the pawn knight on e5. That is a good idea for me. So the knight e7 was played mainly because black wanted to play queen h6, and he is trying to attack on the h2 pawn, and he is also going for knight g5 and knight h3, this kind of moves. Yes, Ivan, you are right, he played knight to the e5. Now here in this position, which move will you play? White to play is there, and we need to understand that there might be some possibilities related to the attack here. The bishop will have a great defender. Okay, another threat is also there, that the bishop is coming on the h5 square. Okay, okay, the bishop is also coming on this diagonal. So which move we should play in this position? Okay, you are suggesting f4 in this position, but I think if you play f4, then I will just play bishop to the h5, and I will be bringing pieces. f4 is also a possibility, but bishop h5 looks quite good. So I think like after bishop h5, the queen must move in this position, and there will be some close favors knight. Okay, tactics also. We will be playing g5 and we will be attacking the f4. So we will be giving some attacking possibilities for black in this position, I will say like that. So we should not play f4 and not give him any targets to him. Botvinnik was very sharp in tactics and he decided to play f3 instead of f4 because he wants to dislodge this knight on the e4 square. Like that knight is very very strong in this position, he wants to dislodge. And here in this position black was also very clever. He set a trap on Botvinnik. He played knight to the f2 and he is asking him to capture the knight on f2. Now my question for you is like, what will happen if Botvinnik captures the knight on f2? Well, P and John, you are suggesting bishop to the e2. Maybe that was also a possibility. Even h4 was also a possibility, but he went for f3. That is more forcing move. Like he wants to force his opponent's knight on e4 to move. That's why he played f3 move. Queen h2 leads to perpetual check. Okay, let's see what happens. If he plays queen into h2, then obviously white has two options, king e3 as well as king to the f1. If he plays king to the f1, then what happens? Then we can give this check. If king e2 comes, then we can give this h2 check, and it will. Okay, after king e3, what will happen? That is very very important. King e3, and then which move will you play? Can you tell me? Yes, again there will be a perpetual check. Yes, f4, definitely. Black can play f4 in this position, and after g into f4, we can play queen into f4, and then this will be a perpetual check in this position. So this is the idea behind Botvinnik's opponent. He wants to give perpetual check and draw the game, but Botvinnik did not fail for this thing. He played queen to the e2 in this position, and after queen to the e2, now he is threatening to capture the knight on f2, and his opponent played knight to the h3 check, and Botvinnik played king to the g2, and here he played g5. Now okay, black is trying to create lot of counterplay on the queen side, but here white should also do something on the queen side, because as I mentioned, he has pawn majority and he needs to take care of that thing. Okay, by mistake I went back. Okay, f4 move. Yeah, Ivan, yes. Why didn't play bishop e4? Now he has allowed tactical play for black. Well, bishop into e4. If he played, then the pawn was also coming here, and he wanted to keep this bishop because there is some reason behind keeping this bishop on light square. Bishop should be there because our pawns are there on the dark squares. So he wants to keep that bishop, and also there is a light square bishop from black side. So if this bishop comes in the game at any point, he should be ready to exchange the bishop. That's why he's keeping the pieces on the board. Okay. Okay, now here the d6 square is a weakness. That's why to create possibilities on the queen side, Botvinnik played knight to the b5. Now he is jumping with knight to the d6. He's attacking the a7 pawn also. Yeah, even I stream on Twitch also, but not that frequently. But I will be doing frequent streaming on Twitch also. You can read my description in this video, and you like other videos also, you'll get to know about where I do what and everything. Okay, so bishop into b5 was played, and after bishop into b5 there is a threat of bishop to the d7 in this position. So black thought, okay, he will bring all his pieces to the king side, and he played rook to the f6. Now it looks like, okay, white has many tricks and turns that where he can go wrong. No, I'm not twitching right now. I'm twitching like streaming here on YouTube right now. So here obviously white played bishop to the d7, attacking the rook on c8, and he played rook to the d8. And now it's time to push our pawns because everything is settled on the king side. Black really doesn't have any attack on the king side, even though it looks like these pieces are there, but they are not harming him much because our queen is there. Our knight on e5 is beautifully placed here, and it's time to push our pawn on the queen side. So he plays b5 in this position, and now h5, queen h5 was played, and after this c6 move. Now the pawns are just rolling forward. Black played rook to the h6. Finally, his trick is to play knight to the f4 check, and he wants to capture on the h2 square. And in this position, Botvinnik played a very cool move, and after that, his opponent just decided to give up the game and he just resigned. Can you tell me which move Botvinnik played in this position? You need to understand your opponent's idea, and accordingly you should play. I know this thing that on the queen side, Botvinnik has played very nicely. Rook h1, well, rook h1 can be a possibility. c7 will be very hasty Ivan, because knight f4 is also one of the possibilities in this position, as I mentioned. Okay, my class buddies is suggesting king h1. Yeah, that is a good move. Okay, let's see what happens if you play c7 in this position. That is also a good move. There is nothing wrong, very wrong with this move, but after this king h1 is actually more precise, because after king to the h1, black will not have any kind of counterplay. The pawn on c6 will be proceeding forward, and black cannot create any threats also. Even if he plays knight f4, we can just capture the pawn, knight and everything. There are no tricks in this position, and king h1 is kind of like a prophylactic move. And these top players like Botvinnik and all, they understood that they should not give any kind of chances to their opponent when they are winning. Okay. Yes, definitely. Without anything, you can just play it cool and you will be winning. Okay. Krishna, you don't need to sacrifice anything in this position. You can play simple chess. Okay, in this position, Botvinnik's opponent just resigned, and this was a very cool game. That when you have pawn majority on the queen side, it doesn't mean that you should just push your pawns very quickly and you should try to win. You can go slowly, and when the position is right, then push the pawns. Okay, this was a very important game. That's why I showed you that we should not hurry. Having pawn majority on the queen side doesn't mean that it's just going to win for you. You need to work hard for it. Yeah. Okay, fine. So I would like to show one more game where Botvinnik was playing. Uh, okay. Would you like to see one more game of Botvinnik where, but the game went on to the end game, and I want to show you the position which was there on the board from this position. Okay, from this position I will show you the game. I have decided to show you from this game. Right. Let's see Botvinnik's game. Okay, fine. So this is the position. In this position, this is almost symmetrical position like the previous game. But in this game, Botvinnik decided to play a little bit different way. Okay. Now here d5, e6, f5, same position like the previous game, but now he approaches it this position in a different way, because now he is much more mature. That game, previous game was played in 1934, and this game was played in 1943. So you can understand Botvinnik developed as a player also, and he decided to go from this position into the end game, which is favorable for him. Okay. Come by to watch, cheer us, and we'll send you to. Yes, definitely, Mayur. I will come and cheer you guys there. And for the guys who don't know, Mayur stays in Japan, and he is a very great chess lover. Okay. Good luck, Mayur. Play well in that tournament. We are always going to be supporting you. So, coming back to the position which is there on the board, Botvinnik decided to play bishop to the b5. Why is he playing bishop to the b5? Because he wants to action this knight on c6, so that the knight on f3 will be getting this beautiful square on the e5 square. And one more thing is that white has already achieved the pawn majority on the queen side, so we need to go step by step. So he plays this move. Black decided to play knight to the g5 square, because knight g5 black played because he understood that what white wants to play. He wants to play bishop into c6, bishop into c6, and then white wants to play knight e5. So before Botvinnik places his knight on the e5 square, he wants to exchange this knight on f3. That's why knight g5 is played. And here, okay, white played bishop into c6, and obviously Botvinnik's opponent did not wanted this knight to come on e5, so he played knight to the f3. But okay, as the knight on e4 is gone, the pawn on e6 has become a little bit weakness in this case. So white played queen into f3 in this position, then b into c6 was played, and now this position has been converted into a position where black is having a very passive bishop, you can say, and this knight can be active. The position is also closed, and the bishop is actually restricted by his own pawns. The light square pawns are there, the light square bishop is there, and in such cases it is very difficult to play. Okay. Yes. Okay, his opponent is here Konstantinopolski. His name is Alexander Konstantinopolski. This is a little bit difficult name. He was a strong player at that time. Okay, one more thing is that after this move, black is trying to play e5 in this position. So Botvinnik stops that move by playing queen to the f4. He is controlling the e5 square in this case. Black again plays rook a e8 in this position. He wants to play e5, and okay, here Botvinnik understood that he can no longer stop the e5 move. So he allowed his opponent to play e5, and he played castle. And black played e5, and then he decided to go into the end game, because in the end game he will be able to play. But this is not pure end game, you can say. It is just the transition, you can say. It is still the middle game with little bit more pieces. Like, yes, but no. Okay. Here Botvinnik decided to play queen into e5, queen into e5, d into e5, rook into e5, and now it's very important to stop this pawn on f5, because if this pawn pushes forward, then the bishop will be coming in the game. So Botvinnik decided to stop the pawn by playing f4 move. He is playing this game in a very nice way. Like, structural weaknesses are there in the black's camp, and he is closing down everything slowly and gradually. Okay. Yes, definitely, Shahid, you are right about this thing. F4. Okay, he had my queen got trapped in the center of the board because of those pawns. Okay, new. That happens sometimes. Okay, black decided to go back, and here to control the file, he played rook f e1, then rook e8 was played, then rook into e7, rook into e7, and now we need to control these important squares. So Botvinnik plays his king to the f2 square, and now king f7 is also played. Now it's time to play in a more active way. So he played rook to the d1, then rook e8 was played, then rook to the d2, h6, and rook e8. He is offering to exchange the rooks, but that if the rooks are exchanged, then if let's suppose rook into e2 is played, we will play knight into e2, and the knight will be coming on the d4 square, and we will be pushing this pawn more aggressively, because knight will be very well placed in this. Okay, you have seen this game. That's cool. Then black played rook to the b8, and it's time to bring the king in the center of the board. So he played king e3, rook b3, king to the d4, and now king to the f6. Now it's time to dislodge this rook from this b3 square. So Botvinnik played knight to the a2, rook to the b8, and b4. Now it's the time for us to proceed with our queenside pawns. So g5 was played. We don't need to create any kind of counterplay on the king side. So g3 is played, g into f4, g into f4. Still we are maintaining the pawn on f4. That's why this bishop on d7 is still looking like a stupid bishop, because he doesn't have any kind of moves to go ahead. Okay. Finally, black played a move which looks very bad, but actually it is necessary, because he needs to somehow stop this b5 move. Okay, because a4 and b5 was the threat, so he played a6 to further control the b5 square. And here there are further weaknesses, like b6 is also one of the weaknesses. Let's see what Winnick played. He played knight to the c3, rook g8. He is coming on that side of the board, on the king side, but now it's time to push the pawn. He plays a4, the rook came to the g4 square, and he just defended the pawn on f4. bishop to the e6, and now it's time to break through on the queen side. So he plays b5, a into b5, a into b5, c into b5, and the knight came to the b5 square. And now we have clear passed pawn that is on the c file. So rook to the g1, knight c3, king f7. Okay, if I'm going a little bit faster or something, let me know. But this game is like very flow, the very smooth game which is white is playing here. And then okay, he just continues with his king's activity. King comes in the center of the board. Now the king is going to the d6 square, and he is going to push the pawn. Okay, so black plays king at d4. He wants to activate his bishop. Finally he activated, but he lost the pawn, and white just captured king into d4, king to the g6, and now it's time to bring the knight. So he played knight to the c3, king h5. Okay, black is also trying to do something on the king side, but okay, that is not going to help because rook e2 is a good move which Botvinnik has planned with the knight c3 move. And now he needs to exchange the pieces, and now it is almost over. He played king g4, king came in the center, the bishop is attacked, and now it's time to play knight to the d4. Now if black moves his king, then definitely the pawn on f5 will be lost, and even if he doesn't play like that, still we can capture the pawn on f5 because the bishop will be caught in the Caesar. We call it in the end game the Caesar is bishop cannot control two pawns which are there on different diagonals. So h5 is played, and finally Botvinnik finished off the game with a nice tactics, knight into f5. And as I mentioned, if bishop into f5 is played in this position, which move will you play? Yes, we'll play c6. If the bishop moves back in this position, then we can play c7, and on the next move we are going to play f5, and this pawn will also go forward. Okay, this is a very difficult position for black. He did not capture there. He played bishop d7, but okay, the pawn is just going forward and forward. Yes, definitely. And then finally black just resigned in this position. So I like this game because in this game Botvinnik converted the position when he had pawn majority on the queen side. He converted into the end game, and it all started with the bishop b5 move. Okay, you have doubts about bishop into f5? Then okay, here we can even play c6, which I mentioned earlier. If bishop to the c8, then okay, we have better move that h3 is actually a better move. We can force his king to go with king to the here, and then we will play the pawn with f5, f6, f7 is coming because bishop e6 is not there anymore. So this is much more better variation which I showed you earlier, and bishop will not be able to stop the two pawns which are there on the different diagonals. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, for today, the game, maybe the last game you can say, or maybe one more game we can see if we have the time. Uh, a very attacking game by Alexei Shirov, because we know this thing. Alexei Shirov has played many attacking games, and in his book Fire on Board, there is a very beautiful game. We are going to see that game now, and it is related to the queenside pawn majority. Okay, so this game was played between Alexei Shirov and his opponent's name is Yudasin. Yes, his opponent's name is Yudasin Leonard. His opponent's rating is 26225. Shirov's rating at that time was 2740, and this game was played in 1994. And at that time, Shirov was one of the top players in the world. Okay, he was just like Anand and everyone who is like that now. Okay, now Shirov has gone down, but at that time Shirov was great player. And this game was played in Moscow Olympiad, and the game was between Latvia against Israel. Okay, so let's look at this game, because this game is fully, like you can say, it was completely a very attacking game by Shirov. Okay, let me check. Yeah, this is here. This is the starting position, and Shirov started with the move d4. Okay, are you ready for this Shirov's attacking game, which will demonstrate us the true power of queenside pawns? Okay, that bishop h3 is was played, I think, against Topelo. Yeah, so let's look at this game and find out how Shiro played in this game. So d4, nf6, c4, e6, knight to the c3, bishop to the b4, and this is Nimzo Indian opening. Okay, Shiro played e3 in this position. E3 is something which is my favorite opening also. I always means not always, but I have played plenty of games in this system, that is the e3 system against Nimzo Indian. That's why I knew this game since long. So black played c5, knight g2 is played in this position, then c into d4, e into d4, and d5. Black played d5. So now which move will you play to get the pawn majority on the queen side? Okay, I'll ask you. Yes, Karthik, absolutely right. You need to play c5. Mayur, you are also right. c5 was played by Shiro in this position, and he has got the pawn majority on the queen side. Yes, my my class buddies, that is a good way to remember rather than remembering that lines. Yes. Okay. So here black played knight to the e4, and then Shiro played bishop to the d2, knight into d2, queen into d2, and here he played a5. Okay. After a5, Shiro decided to exchange this bishop on b4, and he played a3 move. And here bishop into c3 was almost forced because bishop doesn't have any squares, and Shiro played knight into c3. Here you can say that okay, white might try to play rook to the b1 and b4. So black was also very clever. He decided to play a4, cramping down this position on the queen side. Now a3 and b2 pawn a little bit cramped. They cannot really move forward, because whenever you try to play b4 in this position, black has this a into b3 move, and okay, the pawn structure will be bad because the pawn on a3 will be isolated. So that is not something which Shiro wanted to do in this position, so he decided to play it cool. Okay, we don't need to rush when we have the pawn majority. The pawn majority can be useful in the endgame, as we saw in the previous botanic game. So he played bishop to the d3. Okay, Shiro is not a player who will go for the endgame. He will always try to crush his opponent in the middle game. So he played bishop to the d3. But one more thing is there, as we have seen in this structure, the pawns on f7, e6 and d5 will always restrict the bishop on c8. Okay, black played bishop to the d7, and now he castled in this position. So black played knight to the c6, and then bishop to the c2 was played. Well, why is he playing bishop to the c2? Yes, yes. Karthik, you're right. He wants to put some pressure on the this square, and now he is even threatening knight into a4 because he is attacking the a4 pawn with two pieces. Correct. So black decided to save the pawn on a4 with the move knight to the e7. Definitely, he wants to play something like queen to the d3 also in the future, so that he can attack the h7 pawn. Yes, yes, definitely. Mayur, you are right about this thing. And here Shiro decided to play more steadily. He brought the rook on the e1 square, so that this rook, if black anytime castles on the king side, he can go rook e3, rook h3 or rook g3. The rook lift will be there in the air. So obviously black did not castle in this position because he was well aware of like Shiro's repertoire, that Shiro will not hesitate to sacrifice on the king side. So he played it cool. He played b6 in this position. He is waiting. Okay. Now he is trying to exchange this pawn on c5. If c into b6 will be played, then the black will be very happy after queen into b6, because the b2 pawn will be a weakness. Okay, and it will be a permanent target for black. So obviously Shiro did not capture on b6. He waited for this position, and he, as Karthik mentioned earlier, he started attacking the pawn on a4 with the move queen to the d1. Okay, now he is attacking the a4 pawn. So here, are you understanding? Are you there, guys? Okay. Shiro's opponent play b into c5, then d into c5, and now queen to the a5 was played. And here he's attacking the pawn on c5. Oh, Pawan Bhaiya is here. Hindi chess channel is of Pawan Bhaiya. He is also having a good channel. Guys, you can see his channel. He always makes good videos in Hindi. And before some time, our best teacher, or you can say the very great player, Anup Deshmukh sir's streaming was also there at 5 o'clock. You can go and check his video, which will be there after some time, I think. Yeah. So here Shiro is trying to play that this pawn on c5 is a weakness, and his opponent is trying to capture the pawn. So Shiro decided to support the pawn with queen to the d4. And now finally his opponent decided to castle, and he went to play castle in this position because he wants to bring the rook in the game. Okay. And Shiro, as per his reputation, he brought another piece in the game with rook to the e3. He is going for the king side, but okay, you guys might say that this is all about the pawn majority on the queen side and I'm showing you something else, but no, this is related to the pawn majority. You will come to know about it because we still have the pawn majority on the queen side, and Shiro is going to take advantage of this pawn majority. In this position his opponent played f5, okay, because he wants to block this bishop's diagonal. Okay, so f5 is played, and now can you tell me which move will you play in this position? Because after f5 the e6 pawn is also a weakness. Yeah, similar structure, but Shiro is a very attacking player. I am telling you, he is going to play this position in a very different way. He is not going to play like Botvinnik. He will exploit his opponent's weaknesses because white spaces are very well placed in this position, and he is going to exploit black's weaknesses. The weaknesses are there. Okay, rook f e1. You are suggesting, Karthik, you are suggesting rook f e1, g4. Wow, that is also one of the possibilities in this position. First instinct Shiro, yes, okay, g4 is also a possibility, but Shiro decided to sacrifice his piece in this position. He did not go for a g4 move, or he did not even go for rook e1. He thought like he is ready to sacrifice in this position, and he played bishop into a4. This was a really surprising move for his opponent, and it is actually a very nice move. It is a good move because what he is trying to do, after sacrificing the bishop on a4, his pawns will be free and he will be pushing his pawns on the queen side. Yeah, he is on Tal mode, you can say, because as many people might be knowing, or I don't know whether they know it or not, he learned from Mikhail Tal because he is from the same place as Mikhail Tal, that is Riga. He is from Latvia, so he had great influence of Mikhail Tal on his games. So he played bishop into a4 in this position. Black actually captured here, and here the second pawn he took rook into e6 by giving one sacrifice with the bishop. He has damaged black's all pawn structure. Now f5, d5 are also weaknesses, and these pawns on the queen side are going to roll now. This is the main problem in black's play. Like he is very much behind in development, you can say. Like he is not able to attack anywhere, and now Shiro has already started with his expansion. He has sacrificed one piece, and now suddenly all the weaknesses are there in black's camp. Okay, he played knight to the g6, and now it's time to push your pawns. He played b4. The queen went back to the a7 square. Now which move will you play? Can you tell me which move will you play? Now it's time to push your pawns steadily forward. Okay. Yes, b5. You should play b5 in this position because if you don't push your pawns, then who will push the pawns? Passed pawns are there. They should be always pushed whenever it is possible. You should not just capture the pawn. The pawn on d5 we can always capture. You don't need to capture the pawn so easily like right now. We can wait to capture the d5 pawn. We should. You place your cursor on. Oh, okay, okay. I will not put my cursor there. Okay, fine. So here he played b5, queen to the a5, attacking the pawn on b5. Now what to play? Okay, I am not putting my cursor there. I will not give you any hint. Yes, P and John, you are right about this move. b5 was played. Now, obviously, the pawn on b5 is a weakness. We should push it further. And Shiro did the same thing. He is just going forward with his pawn. He played b6. He just pushed his pawn. He doesn't need rook b1 right now. He will go in. Okay, this bishop was played to the e8 square. And now finally, he captured the pawn on d5. And now we still have these two pawns. Okay, we cannot really play c6. We couldn't play c6 in previous position because the pawn on b6 was little bit weak. And now he has captured the pawn on d5 also. Now our pawns are more near to the queening square. Okay, here his opponent played bishop to the f7 and Shiro played yet another move which was actually not necessary in this position, but as we know that Shiro can play in a very aggressive way. Can you guess Shiro's move in this position? This is something which I couldn't also think. Like Shiro can even play like this. This was a surprise for me also, and must be a surprise for his opponent also. Yeah, he played rook into g6. He is not caring about his pieces. Yeah, he played rook into g6. Okay, when I give you the hint, then it is possible. But when you are thinking about this game or when you are looking at the game, you will not think. You might play just rook to the d6. That is a simple move. And after rook to the d6, maybe you will try to push your pawn with c6 and b7. That is a normal play. But Shiro is not a normal player. He is going to play in a very tricky way. He played rook into g6 in this position. Okay, so after bishop into g6, now he is complete rook down in this position. He is rook down, but he has three pawns for the rook. Okay, and another thing is that the a3 pawn is obviously going to fall. So basically he is playing rook down with only two pawns which are going to be there on the sixth rank. Okay, so here he played c6. The two pawns are there on the sixth rank and he is rook down. Come on, man. This is all is happening because the queen side pawns can only proceed. If this position was there on the king side, then your king will be exposed. But here you don't need to worry. When you have pawn majority on the queen side, you can always push your pawns. Okay. So, okay. This position, objectively speaking, might be defendable for black. But when your opponent is giving so many sacrifices and your opponent's pawns are there on the sixth rank, it feels very very scary. I'm telling you from my own experience that when I was playing against one very good player, he sacrificed some material and his pawns approached on the sixth rank, and I was not having any clue like what to play. Okay, so Shiro is playing psychologically also here. So rook a8 was played, then b7. He is pushing the pawn. Now c7 is going to come, then c8 is going to come. He's going to come like recover the piece. So bishop f7 was played. Okay, now the d5 knight is being attacked by two pieces, and white played knight to the b6. He's not in hurry. He's going to play it cool. Black played bishop to the e6. Here in this position, Shiro played a little bit strange move, you can say. He played h4 because he wants to create some square for his king so that there will not be any back rank checkmate problems. Okay, black played queen into a1, and now it's time to bring your rook in the game. He played rook to the b1 because at some point we might need some support on the b file. Okay, his opponent played rook to the d8, but after rook to the d8, this is a big mistake actually. Even though the position is already winning for white, but rook d8 is a very big mistake. So can you find out the finishing touch in this game which Shiro played? I'll be very happy if you find out like what Shiro might have played in this position. C7 is suggested by Karthik. Okay, there is a better alternative than C7. Try to find it out. Okay, guys, you are suggesting queen c7 my class, but Karthik is saying queen c8. There is no queen c8. Maybe you are talking about queen d8. Second one seems better. Yeah, two options, c7 or queen into c8 followed by c7. Yes, yes, knight d7 class. No, no, absolutely knight d. Queen d8 is actually a better move in this position, and that is a sacrifice which, when it comes on the board, it feels very pleasing, right? So he sacrificed his queen with queen into d8, and after rook into d8, oh god, my internet went off at a very long, wrong timing. Am I back, guys? Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm fine. Oh, okay, okay. I'm fine. Maybe I was not able to hear myself. That's why I'm asking you, like, am I back? Okay, fine. So here, white played c7 in this position, and after c7, okay, the pawns are going to queen, and he played rook to the f8, and after that, b8 queen was there, and this is just winning position for white. Okay, they played on for some time, but this is clearly winning position for white. f4 was played, then rook e1, attacking the bishop on e6, queen to the d6, and here in this position, wait a minute, I am not able to hear myself at all. So I think, okay, I can see that I'm visible. Okay, fine. Okay, everything is fine. Okay, fine. So here he made yet another queen with c8. It is okay. Yes, everything is okay. c8 queen, and then after this his opponent just resigned because it's completely hopeless position for his opponent. And it was a great feeling to even look at this game. So you can say like this was a real fire on board, and Shiro took great advantage of his pawn majority on the queen side. He finished off his opponent just because he had pawn majority on the queen side. That is very, very pleasing, right? Queen's great. Yeah, rook e6, rook c8 queen. That was also a possibility place after the exchange. Yes, Karthik, that was also a possibility in this position. But the way he played in this game, I really, really love. I hope you enjoyed this Shiraz game. Okay, the first two games which we saw Botvinnik, they were more positional, they were grinding slowly and gradually. But there is also another side of every story that sometimes we can play positionally, sometimes we can play in an aggressive way. But whenever we are going to play in aggressive way, we should be well prepared. That is the basis of all the attacks. And Shiro was very well prepared in this position. He was having all the pieces around his pawns on the C and B file, and that's why he sacrificed on a4, and then he kept on pushing his pawn slowly and gradually. I hope you enjoyed this game. So just tell me with if you like this game or did you like more Botwinnik's game. Guys, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Yeah, if bishop in, if rook into, yeah, actually, yeah, if you want me to show you the game, because two queens are there on the board, if you play bishop into c8 in this position, the thing is that queen into d6 is the simplest move because the queen on d6 is hanging. And if you first play queen into b8 in this position, then we don't need to capture on b8, we can capture on e6, and we will be piece up also. After king to the h8, we can play knight to the d7, and we will be attacking queen as well as the rook on f8, and this is just winning position because white will be the one who will be rook up in this position. So you can say like it transports like Shiro was rook down, and now in the end he will be rook up. Yeah, we can. So if Tuvia, if you have missed the Shiro's game, you can always look at the video, and it is really, really nice, entertaining game, and we can learn a lot from him. Like we can always take advantage of the queen side pawn. So I think this is good for the day. We enjoyed, and I will come up. I was thinking like maybe every day I will talk about the pawn structures in a different openings or something like that, so that it will be more structured. classes, and it will be more instructive also. So tomorrow I will think about what type of pawn structure I will be talking about. So till then, thank you guys for joining me here, and we will be meeting tomorrow. If any of you who wants to join me in the morning class also at 11:30, they can join me. Okay. Okay, see you guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much. Good night, and enjoy your tournament games. I hope these test sessions are quite good for you. Bye. See you. Goodbye. Thank you. Yes, Mayur, you should just sleep quietly. Yes, too, I'll send you. Don't worry.